If I told you that by tomorrow night you could be more wealthy than you had ever dreamt possible, if you did this one thing, would you do that one thing? By the end of this video, you are going to want to exchange your dirty fiat for Bitcoin so fast when you learn what major players controlling trillions of dollars are doing. We've got a thread over here on Twitter that just popped up from Bitcoin Culture at BTC_culture. And they go through some things that they found talking about how Blackrock, Fidelity, Bank of America know some things that we don't. Take a look at these top 10 owners of Microstrategy Inc. And what is it that Microstrategy Inc. owns? Bitcoin. Right up here, we've got Blackrock Fund Advisors, we've got Bank of America Securities, and then down a little bit lower, Fidelity Management and Research. Bitcoin Culture explains, looking at the largest holders of MicroStrategy stock, we can see some of the big banks have been buying huge amounts of MicroStrategy in the first quarter of 2023, which we just left the first quarter. Yes, they say, that's the same MicroStrategy that is the largest institutional holder of Bitcoin, owning 140,000 Bitcoin, worth over $3 billion. Now, the question you should be asking yourself is, why is MicroStrategy so heavily invested in Bitcoin? And then after that, you should ask yourself, why is Bank of America invested in MicroStrategy? And why is Fidelity invested in MicroStrategy? And why is BlackRock invested in MicroStrategy? What's going on here? With the recent SEC lawsuits and Operation Choke Point 2.0, why are these banks buying stocks correlated to the BTC price? Now, some people just looking at the surface of this might just see surface details. You would see the SEC is going after Coinbase and they're going after Binance. And then you might think, well, hang on here. Coinbase sells Bitcoin and so does Binance. So the SEC is de facto going after Bitcoin. Wrong. That is where you would make a huge mistake. The SEC is not going after Coinbase because they sell Bitcoin. They are not going after Binance because they sell Bitcoin. They are going after those companies because they sell other things, unregistered securities. And knowing the distinction between an unregistered security and a commodity is extremely important. And Bitcoin might not even be a commodity. Michael Saylor describes it as a scarcity, and we have never had a scarcity before. There has never been anything like Bitcoin before in the history of humanity. So what you might want to be asking yourself right now is, what does Michael the Bitcoin Chad Saylor, the people at Fidelity, the people at Bank of America, the people at BlackRock, making their millions of dollars a year, what do they see in investing in MicroStrategy? Continuing, considering there's no ETF in the US, buying MicroStrategy is the easiest way for some US investors to get exposure to the price of Bitcoin. I'm going to explain what that means here real simply. Fidelity, Bank of America, and BlackRock have nothing to do with the making of pancakes. All they care about is what happens with money and how to make more of it. That is their number one mission. Make more money. But they might not have the expertise or the knowledge yet to get into Bitcoin directly, but they see what MicroStrategy is doing. And do you think maybe they pay attention to what Michael Saylor is saying occasionally? If so, it would explain what's going on here a little bit more clearly. Bank of America have curiously increased their exposure to MicroStrategy by 47,800%, nearly 50,000% in quarter one of 2023. Bank of America is the second largest US bank. Now let's take a look at what the world's largest asset manager with over 10 trillion AUM, assets under management, is quietly doing. Bank of America might have a 2.37 stake in MicroStrategy, but BlackRock has a stake in MicroStrategy 3 times larger. BlackRock interestingly holds a 6% stake in MicroStrategy worth over $156 million. And here we get to the oft talked about Fidelity, another giant firm with over 4.5 trillion AUM, assets under management, has also increased its exposure to MicroStrategy by 28,000%. Fidelity has a 1% stake in MSTR. Now, if you're keeping track, that's a total of about 10% between the three of them. You've got 6.24 from BlackRock, 2.37 with Bank of America, and just a smidge over 1 with Fidelity. The thread goes on to say, interestingly, it's not only billion-dollar banks in the US buying MSTR, there is a global appetite for Bitcoin exposure in 2023. Interesting. Didn't we just hear about Strike operating now in more than 60 countries? And then today, I heard that they're they're opening in Mexico. You've got El Salvador using volcano energy, a literal volcano that they're using the geothermal energy from to mine Bitcoin. This is crazy stuff. And then it goes on to say, we can also see that the 6th largest bank in Canada, which that's a tiny nothing country with only 5 people in it, right? Oh wait, no, Canada is a huge country. And the 6th largest bank in Canada now has over $500,000 worth of MicroStrategy in 2023. The important question we should all be asking is, why are these banks doing this in early 2023? And I'll remind you, this is at the same time that the SEC is going after Coinbase and Binance, two of the largest names in the crypto space. And yet, these huge players with trillions in assets under management, AUM, are buying into MicroStrategy, who has the largest holding of Bitcoin of any company. What is going on here? What's going on is that people whose entire livelihoods revolve around moving and managing money are seeing what Bitcoin truly is. You don't throw around this kind of money at speculative projects and moonshot ideas hoping for the best because you just think maybe it'll work out. You only invest these sums of money, these massive, enormous stakes in a company if you think that there's something there. You don't purchase nearly 10% of a company between the three of them if you think it's just a flight of fancy. No. You only make these kind of moves if you pick up on the signal hidden among the noise. And what Binance and Coinbase have been doing is hiding the signal in the noise, and finally the SEC is coming up to clear some of that out. What happens there remains to be seen, but what we know for certain is that Bank of America, Fidelity, and Blackrock, controlling trillions of dollars of asset, are buying into Bitcoin through MicroStrategy. And what that means for you and I is that we should be paying attention to what they're doing, because if they're willing to put their money where their mouth is, then maybe we should do the same.